There has been so much information about slips, trips, and falls that many people are no longer paying attention. Slips and falls used to be the major causes of injuries. There are cases where people were deliberately pushed downstairs. There have been a wide range of accidents in the workplace from every conceivable cause. This even includes running into doors or doors running into people. Jumping from elevated surfaces has caused quite a few injuries in restaurants also. When you think of ladders, uneven surfaces, and of course, slippery surfaces, such as water, ice, and grease, you can visualize the cause of accidents. Safety authorities state that about 35% of the majority of workplace accidents are caused by slips, trips, and falls. Falls can cause severe injuries, such as broken hands and arms, back injuries, strains to muscles and ligaments, and even death. Remember, these types of accidents have occurred for a long time. However, this information will help you prevent those types of accidents. Slips happen when there is too little friction or traction between footwear and the walking surface. Common causes of slips are wet or oily surfaces, occasional spills, weather hazards, loose and unanchored rugs or mats and flooring or other walking surfaces that do not have the same degree of traction in all areas. Trips happen when your foot collides by striking or hitting an object, causing you to lose your balance and then falling. Common causes of trips are obstructed view, poor lighting, clutter in your way, wrinkled carpeting, uncovered cables, bottom drawers not being closed, uneven steps and walking surfaces. Both slips and trips result from some kind of unintended or unexpected change in the contact between the feet and the ground or walking surface. This shows that good housekeeping, quality of walking surfaces or flooring, selection of proper footwear, and appropriate pace of walking are critical for preventing fall accidents. Reduce trips by always using installed light sources that provide sufficient light for your tasks. Using a flashlight if you enter a dark room where there is no light. Ensuring that things you are carrying or pushing do not prevent you from seeing any obstructions or spills, etc. The first and the most important level of preventing falls due to slips and trips is good housekeeping, which includes clean all spills immediately, mark spills and wet areas, mop or sweep debris from floors, remove obstacles from walkways and keep free of clutter, securing mats, rugs, and carpets that do not lay flat. Always close file cabinet and storage drawers. Cover cables that cross walkways. Keep work areas and walkways well lit. Replace used light bulbs and faulty switches. In restaurants, quite often products are dropped and spilled on the floor. It's not good enough to just wipe up the spills. You have to actually clean that surface. Let's take a jar of mayonnaise that spills on the floor. There are oils in the mayonnaise. So you wipe up the spill and then you put some abrasive powder and rub the area to remove any oils. Then you clean the floor surface with soap and water, rinse, and then make sure the floor surface is not slick. Without good housekeeping practices, any other preventive measures will never be fully effective. Footwear. Typically in restaurants, floors may be oily, wet, or may be dirty from lots of activity. Proper fitting footwear that has good traction on the soles of the footwear increases comfort and prevents fatigue, which can improve safety for the person wearing them. Leather covering the foot and ankle portion of the foot is preferred in most work environments. However, when working in wet environments or around chemicals, oils, or greases, particularly during cleanup, boots made of polyvinyl chloride, PVC, a blend of PVC and polyurethane, or neoprene should be used. Rubber is generally satisfactory for wet conditions, but tennis shoes are popular, but in wet and slippery environments, they can contribute to accidents and injuries. In addition to wearing the wrong footwear, there are specific behaviors which can lead to slips, trips, and falls. Walking too fast or running can cause major problems that can lead to slips, trips, and falls. Other distractions are not watching where one is going, carrying materials which obstruct view, and failure to use handrails. These and other behaviors caused by lack of knowledge, impatience, or bad habits developed from past experiences can lead to falls, injuries, or even death. Stairwells should be well lit with sturdy handrails on both sides. Persons using the stairwell should have one hand free to be able to use the handrail. All the steps should have the same rise and depth with visible edges. They must be kept free of grease, oil, and obstacles, which could cause slips and trips. Whenever possible, avoid carrying heavy or bulky objects which obscure your vision and/or require the use of both hands. Carry smaller, lighter loads and make more trips, or obtain help with the load. Ladders can cause a great number of injuries. Makeshift ladders, chairs, boxes, and barrels should never be used as substitutes for a ladder. The risk of injury is far too great. Of course, we all know to never stand on the top 2 steps of a stepladder. That's just too dangerous and causes an unsafe shift in the center of gravity of the ladder. Don't lean past the rails of the ladder, as this creates instability. We call this the belt buckle rule. Don't lean past your belt buckle for safety. Naturally, don't use a metal ladder when doing electrical work. There is a great risk of electrocution or getting a shock that could throw you off the ladder. Ladder safety in restaurants isn't generally a major concern, but if you must use a ladder, make sure you follow the rules. Established policies and practices can be implemented to significantly reduce the number of injuries and deaths due to slips, trips, and falls. Much like being a defensive driver, to avoid accidents, one must also be a defensive walker to avoid slips, trips, and falls. Restaurants are busy places, and anyone with experience knows that watching where you walk, watching for others, especially in tight spaces, requires you to think about what you're doing and do it safely. Certainly, the best advice is to keep the floors extremely clean and free of oil and grease. That's a tall order in a fast-paced business, but if everyone pitches in and does their part for safety, slips and falls can be prevented.